Hey, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We just want to say hi and hello to you. This is The Light, living in God's hope and truth. Today is another special day. We have a special topic that we are going to be discussing with all of you. We are going to keep it 100 as you always expect it from us. And of course, today we have a special, amazing, and a wonderful guest. Hi, Rebecca. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be back.
Yes. People have been curious and waiting to hear what you have for us today. I know when we had our last previous episode, people were excited, and I know that today they are also going to be blessed by what you have for us today.
For sure.
Today we have a very exciting topic. I know we live in a world where nobody can escape the reality of having friends. The question or the topic that we're going to talk about today is, who is your friend? How do you handle when God actually allows some type of friends to come into your life, and perhaps for that reason they may hurt you and then build you up? And so let's get into the conversation. It's exciting. Who is your friend? I know that you have a friend out there. You're probably listening to us, curious to know what this is going to be. So stick with us as we have this conversation. Becky, let me ask quickly, who is a friend?
So when I first thought of this question, I started listing out character traits, and I'm like, okay, friend is someone who's loyal, who's trustworthy, who's loving, who's caring. But then I thought, okay, that's probably characteristics of a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to give like an explanation or a meaning to just the word friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, or even Google helped me, and Google said, it's someone who shows mutual platonic affection. And I thought, okay, that's just in the layman terms, just regular terms, that is just who a friend is.
Right.
We haven't really dove in deep into who a good friend is or who a bad friend is. But I just want to just make that comment that a friend is just strictly someone who shows mutual platonic affection.
So I usually ask kids, like children, when some of these questions come into mind. And one kid once told me that a friend is the one that you call when you're hungry, or a friend is the one who lies for you when you're in trouble, right?
So, the mind of a child is so funny.
Right? So definitely with the basic understanding, the question is, how do I choose a friend?
Okay, so in order to find a good friend, you look at their values. And I think it's really important to use that as your groundwork, because the values shows you who the person is and the way that they think, the things that they do. Someone once told me that it takes them a year to find out if they have a real friend or not. And I was thinking, a year? Okay, that is fair.
Right.
However, I wouldn't necessarily put a number on it. What I would think is that it's necessary to take your time in vetting out a friend, because this is someone that you want to keep in your life forever.
Right.
When you think about it, your significant other, if you're looking for someone to be either your boyfriend or your girlfriend or someone to marry, you're looking at them as a friend first before you move to anything else. And when you're thinking them as a friend, you want to look at their values and what they believe in or how they are. And so you can't really do that within a short period of time, because you haven't really seen them in every season. You haven't seen them if they got a new job promotion. You haven't seen them in different lights, and you don't know if this is something you want to keep with you for a long time. I also want to note that in the process of looking for a good friend, I think it's important to look within ourselves. Are we a good friend ourselves? And sometimes these character traits that we look for, it's the character traits that we don't even possess ourselves. So how can we look for that in someone else if we don't possess that? So I think it's important to look at their values and also look at your own values and see if they align, and see if you yourself are being a good friend for someone else as well.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. I know in a previous episode we talked about values, which builds up self-esteem, and we talked about how your friends can help you to build up your self-esteem. Now you're talking about the values again, and I think values are very critical. It's important when you're choosing friends. And now we're gonna swing into the bad and the good. You have to always look at their experience you haven't seen the person perhaps, finding a new job or even losing a family member.
Yeah.
You haven't dived deep into understanding how they accept and how they live out and how they embrace different circumstances that comes in life. There are friends who will cut you out when you lose a job.
Yes.
Because you can't give them a loan anymore.
you can't be that supportive friend or financial supportive friend anymore. So they tend to cut people out of their lives, which is, I don't know, to each their own.
I know,
I guess.
right? Yeah. So it's important that you look at all these things. But of course, sometimes you will not know them by just studying them for a week or two. Sometimes it takes time. So, I'm excited. One of the few things that for me, if I am to choose a friend, like for me personally, I will want to make sure that the values, number one. Of course, we also have to choose friends who may not necessarily have the same values with the intention of convincing them to accept our values. But that's the next step.
That is okay. Let's dive into that.
so is it
that's
okay
a hot take.
Yeah. Is it okay to have both good and bad friends?
Honestly, I feel like this is controversial because to me personally, I don't think that it's necessary to have bad friends in your life. But let me just break that down. I think that in life, nobody really seeks to have anything bad, whether it be bad food or bad company, whatever the case is. Nobody looks for anything that is negative. But sometimes when you're looking for that friend, you don't realize that some characteristics may slip through the cracks, and you don't realize that you have chosen someone or something that you probably did not align with the values.
Right.
Another sense, I also think that some friendships may be circumstantial. And I mean that at school or even at church, we form bonds because of the environment that we're in.
Right.
We didn't necessarily make those friendships ourselves. It's because we're in that environment. So for example, in school, those who have been with me since kindergarten have been in the same class or whatever the case may be until grade 12. So I didn't really make those friends myself because they were placed in my life because of what age.
Right.
So when we think about it, some friendships have been formed because it's circumstances.
Right.
And we don't really choose them. And along the way, we grow an attachment to them and not an actual connection. So because of whatever the case may be, whether you're in the same church, same school, I know I'm repeating myself, but just to put that emphasis on there that we didn't really make those connections ourselves. And so we don't realize that we may have a bad friend in our corner because we didn't really choose that for ourselves. Even just to add on, I wouldn't say anyone wishes to keep a bad friend, like I said in the beginning. And I don't think that you should. I think that is particularly my take, but there's always beauty in the negative situation.
Right.
And so those individuals that you may not have chosen may not have been your blessing at the time, but they could have been your lesson. So you learn something from that friendship or that attachment that you formed, and you use that for your life or the future or making new friends moving forward.
Wow. So it may not be a blessing, but it may be a lesson.
A lesson too. Yes.
That's the bar, right? Guys, I told you, Becky always have something to drop in there. One philosopher once said, "To choose not to choose is a choice itself."
Yes.
And
I
so even though you may have not had the potential ultimate choice to choose these people because they fall into circumstance, right? They can either be good or bad.
Yep.
But when you find out that this is a bad friend, or when you find out that this is a good friend, is it okay to keep both?
Pastor, that is really a hot take. I personally, I don't think that it's necessary to keep the bad friend. Yes, you can learn something from them, but there is a quote that says, "Show me your friends,
and I'll show you your character."
Exactly. And so if there is a certain light that you want to walk in, if there's a certain persona that you want to show to the world, why is it that we find it necessary or we want to keep those people around us that don't help us shine our light brighter? And so if we know these things, not necessarily cut them off. Yes, I feel like it's it's important to keep it respectful. It's important to let someone know that maybe you are not bringing that benefit to my life that I wanted to. Yes, I can keep you as a acquaintance, but someone that I will necessarily call my someone in my close corner or my friend, that is not something that I would like to move in. And I think it's important to have those healthy boundaries as individuals, because sometimes we feel like we should just let people in our lives that don't necessarily need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You can, yes, they still exist, they still have whatever they're doing in life. However, me as an individual, I don't need to move forward with you. I can know that you exist, I can respect everything that you have going on,
Right.
but I don't need you in my corner.
Yes.
That is just my
All the
personal
time.
take.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't need you in my corner.
And I respect it because
Yeah.
you know, you understand yourself and
Yeah.
you understand your values and you
Yeah.
understand what you can take.
Exactly.
And that's where you make the decision to
For
not
sure.
keep those people, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes when some friends are discovered as being bad, for me personally, like understanding how bad they are, like
Yeah.
categorically, like how bad they are,
Mhm.
I can say, I can handle this person and probably
Right.
have positive influence with them.
Yeah.
But like, if you know, I don't want to mention types of badness, but like we all know, if it is that bad, I don't want it in my space.
Right. I also think that bad is also relative. So what you may
Right.
find negative to you may not be negative to
Right?
me.
Yeah. You know, we always say that if you're trying to pull somebody out of the pit, make sure that you are on the solid ground, because they may pull you in the pit
Exactly.
too, right? And so, you know, it's always okay relatively if you can handle that type of badness, quote unquote, right? That type of badness with the intention to influence them to have a positive life. Because again, we want to stand on the biblical principle. Our goal is not to walk with people of bad influence.
Yes.
But it's also our mission to reach out to people with bad influence,
Right.
just so that we can build them up to be a better person.
Right. You can always vet someone to portray a certain type of value or to have certain a certain mindset, but to keep them in your corner is all up to you. It's all up to your discretion. And personally, for me, that is not something that I would want to keep in my corner. But Christ says that I am my brother's keeper. So
okay.
that is something to also keep in mind.
Yeah, keep in mind, you know, to build them up for the better space. Let me take this to a little extra level, unexpectedly.
Yeah.
We have friends and we have best friends, and apparently we have BFF, best friends forever. Can one person be a BFF forever?
That is a very interesting question. Can someone be your best friend forever? Yes, I do believe that they can be your best friends forever. I was looking at a post, and it said that sometimes it's okay to leave people in the season that they're still in. Not necessarily that if they're in trouble and you don't want to help them out, but sometimes when we are growing older, we don't realize that we're outgrowing our friendships as well. And so if we find that we are outgrowing our friendship, it's okay to let someone be where they are.
Right.
They will find their journey, or they will make it to where they are when they, you know, decide to.
Right.
But if someone is growing with you at the same pace and at, you know, you guys are building each other up as friendships do, then why not keep them along you forever? You know, friendships are always good to have someone who's there to keep you in check.
Right.
Someone to love you, someone to care for you, someone to, you know, put you on when you need them. It's always important to have someone in your corner. So if someone is possessing these qualities that you like and you value, why not keep them in your corner forever?
Yeah, I want to pick your 2 cents on this. Is it okay for a man to have a female best friend forever? Is it okay for a woman to have a male best friend forever, especially when one of them is married to a different individual? What do you think? This is just a little tea.
Just a little tea. No problem. Okay. It depends.
Right.
For me, I feel like if that person was in their life before, then there is a little bit of gray area to work with, because they were friends before and nothing has occurred. And so now if you find your significant other, then you can grow with your significant other while with your friend of the opposite sex is around.
Okay.
Now, if you now form that new friendship when you are with your significant other, there's a little bit of problem
fishy.
there. No. That is not something that I will condone at all, because I feel like men and women have different mindsets.
Right.
And so if you have not figured out that mindset before you got into a relationship with your significant other, then you do not know what they are going to do moving forward. And how it may hinder your relationship with your significant other, either grow it or hinder it. We don't know. But it's something that you need to establish way before. And so creating that bond while you're with your significant other is just
That's
really
a problem.
it's a problem for me.
You need to see your family
Yes.
counselor or something.
You really do, because it's just not something that's necessary. My significant other is my best friend. Why do I need to now create a new one? It's not something that's necessary.
Somebody want to break the previous relationship.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you, and I think that's good. That's when we're talking about, friends that you think are even good for you would eventually become a negative thing that will impact your other relationships.
For sure.
As we are about to wrap this up, this is a very important question. How do you learn from friends hurt, quote unquote, to build you up for success? As you really want to embody Christ-like character, how do you handle that?
Honestly, if these are the people that you hold dear to your heart, then for me personally, take it to God in prayer. If someone once possessed a certain value that you liked and that you wanted to keep with you, and you saw this to be good, then we don't know what caused them to have this certain characteristic that went against you, And so when we talk to God in prayer, him being our ultimate friend, he's going to give us advice. He's going to be the listening ear that we need to either humble our hearts or just be ready to learn from the situation that we were just in.
Right.
And yes, as humans, yes, we may feel hurt, but it's also good to communicate. And so yes, we communicate with the Father above. Now we need to communicate with our friends down below. We need to communicate with the friends who hurt us, who did something that we didn't necessarily like. And once you communicate, I feel like it's very, very important to tell your friend how they hurt you, and also ask them, like, what caused you to do this. It's just good to just get that insight, to get that closure, just so that we know if this is something that we want to keep forward with, or something that we can pray with them about and say, okay, this is not something that I like, let's pray about it, let's work on it, because I want to keep you in my corner forever. I don't want to just cut you off, because then I'm not portraying that forgiving nature that God has once called us to possess, And so once we do that, whatever steps that we take from then, I think it's also important to use for the future as well. I don't think that we should use our past hurt to move on to our future friendships. So if we have that in our mindsets, then we can create new friendships, create new bonds that are good, and just people to be around in our circle, be around in our corner, and help us to move forward.
And I like that. Sometimes, we always say that don't dwell in the past. Don't look back, but sometimes it's good to look back on your relationship with that person that supposedly have hurt you at this time. There was a time you probably hurt them and they forgave you. There was a time that they were there for you when things were very difficult.
Very important.
How to learn from that is, even if that hurt, it's so painful, try to take that as a lesson of empowerment, and I believe a way to build yourself up to say that, okay, now I'm going to learn from this situation, because
very
of maybe
important.
one or two things that might have happened behind the scenes. So it is always good to not cut them off right away, but to learn why this happened, and perhaps have some positive ways to handle this.
In this generation, we always think that it's just when someone does you wrong, like you said, just cut them off. But again, like you said, that really resonated with me, that you don't know what someone probably went through that made them either talk harshly to you, and so now because they talk harshly to you, you want to cut them off. I think it's not something that's necessarily fair. And communication is key. Talk to them about it. If that's your friend that you found to hold such value in your life, talk to them about it.
So, like, if you were the person who hurt somebody, would you want to be cut off? Would you want to be forgotten? Would you want to be neglected? We can use Jesus as an example. He had friends like Peter. He had friends like Judas who betrayed him at some point, but he was still willing to give them that chance.
Oh, how we wish to have a heart like Jesus, but we try. Exactly. It's very important to possess that characteristic, and just have a humble heart, and just be ready to hear and to communicate with the people in our corner.
Thank you so much, Becky. So as we wrap it up, friends, I want you to ask yourself the question: who is your friend, and how do you handle your good friends and bad friends? Is it okay for you to hold up onto your quote-unquote bad friends, and can you maintain that BFF before or after you find your significant other? Ask yourself these questions, and I hope you learn something from it. Because this is a friendship topic, Becky, I want you to give a shout out to maybe one or two friends that you may have that you want to say hi or hello to, and tell them that maybe you love them and you care for them.
So I want to give a big shout out to all my church friends, all my school friends, all even my siblings are my friends. Shout out to all you guys. I love you all.
Thank you very much. And of course, shout out to all my friends. For me, I can boldly say my best friend is my wife,
Mary. Okay. Shout out to you, Mary.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Becky, for sharing all these thoughts and these great ideas. Really appreciate your insight and your thoughts and your friendship for sure, for making this a great talk again for today. And I hope that for our listeners, you learned something and that you are not just going to cut them off.
No.
And you're not just going to choose that person as your friend, but you rethink about your values and you rethink about your goals and your vision and your purpose and what you want to accomplish, and attach the people that you want to attach to your life.
Yes.
I wish you all a great day, and God bless you wherever you are.
God bless.
See you on the next episode. God bless. Bye.
Bye.